Hello, everybody. I just want to get on here and give you guys kind of a quick update on stuff that we have going on. And so I got a pretty cool alert, from OFF. Basically, he said that, Senate Bill 348 is dead. It's or not dead, but it's like we were supposed to have a work session. It was scheduled for tomorrow, 1 p.m., or maybe it was 3 p.m. I'm losing track. There's just so much going on. And so, luckily they pulled the plug on that, and so that's a good thing up for us. And so that's just another victory for us, right? Is the fact that they are trying to push all this stuff, ram it through the system, and the fact that we're still standing tall, we're still winning. And so that's a good thing. And so obviously I want to give you guys kind of an update about some of the stuff that was going on. So for next week, we need this on our radar. Is next week we're going to be back in federal court in Portland. That's going to be for Measure 114. And so this is the federal trial. It's going to start on Monday. It's scheduled to go from Monday to Friday. And so I'll keep you guys updated as I find out more about, what the particulars are, if it's going to be open to the public, if there's going to be seats available for us to pack the room, obviously to show support for our council there. I think that would be a good thing to make sure that, because we all know that, Lift Every Voice is going to be there. They're going to have red shirts there. They've got a lot riding on this trial. And so the fact that they're going to try to, pack this room and make it really hard for us to be there, so we're going to have to get there earlier. We're going to have to show up. And if you guys want to be part of the process, you guys can go there, and it's open to the public. Obviously, cell phones are not permitted inside the room. So we have to obviously turn off our cell phones before we enter the courtroom. But it'd be, it's going to be fun to kind of watch and see, what the process looks like. This is federal court. And so one thing to think about with the federal court here is, no matter what happens, next week, we're probably not going to get a decision, right? So there's probably going to be some time. And so when we come there, in reality, nothing's going to change for us until the Harney case, which is in September. And so just something to think about there is obviously we definitely want this thing to die in court, and we want to get the victory that we need, and we want them to rule that it's unconstitutional. But we have to understand that we still have things that are working in our favor. And so, that's the thing, and so, just important to know what's happening. I know there's just a lot of stuff happening, and it's easy to kind of check out, especially the sun being out, and spending a long weekend with our families and kind of checking out, which completely normal. It's good to do that, but there's still some work that needs to be done. And so I checked 393. That one, they don't have anything scheduled for that. 2572. That's the one. That's the paramilitary bill. That's scheduled for tomorrow, but obviously that's the first reading, but it's in the Senate side. And so you know what that means. That means, with quorum being denied, there's going to be no hearing. And so, that's the thing there. And so, it's just going to go the way we need it to go. I mean, the fact that we don't have a quorum right now is really a good thing for us. And obviously, there's some people that don't understand the quorum and they don't support the quorum, and I understand. But I feel that if you understand the procedure, you understand the benefit to us as Oregon gun owners and taxpayers and people that, are parents and parental rights, it's a really good thing. And it's something that we need to have in place to protect us, because, it's the voice of the minority is protected there. And so that's just something to think about, so, yeah, coordinate. We can coordinate colors. I mean, I'm not as concerned about this one. I mean, I'm just going to show up in a, business casual. It's just, obviously it's going into federal court. So you're gonna have to go through, they have pretty strict security. So you're not going to be able to carry any pocket knives. You're going to go through a metal detector. They're going to scan everything, so, just showing up in business attire or business casual, I think would be, more than adequate. We're still putting everything together for the org, so we're not, there's a lot to do. And so, that's kind of the thing is you just show up like gun owners, show up like responsible citizens. And so that's, that's something to think about, and it's going to be downtown Portland. So it's going to be at the federal courthouse down there. And so just be aware. I mean, parking, you can park, there's, pay parking down there. It is kind of a rough area, so just be aware of that. It would probably be a good idea to meet up, and that way we can kind of go through security together, and that way we have a group of people. That way we're safe, in groups, because we're all going to be unarmed, and just something to think about. That's what I typically would think about when I'm going into this situation is who can I partner up. I can have extra eyes on, what's happening around us, and it just a little bit safer that way. And, so, that I plan on being up there Monday through Friday. And so what I'll do is I'll keep everybody updated every night on what's happening. My only challenge is going to be Wednesday, because I have a class on Wednesday night, so I'm not going to be able to do any live update there, just because I'm going to be, traveling down to Albany and then back home. So it's going to be a wild week for me, just being able to just keep everything in front of me with all the other stuff I have going on. But it's something that's important to me, is I want to be there every step of the way for you guys, and for myself. I've traveled many miles and spent many hours on this, and I'm looking forward to being there to kind of show support, and hopefully, we get a victory out of this, and so our fingers are crossed, we're saying prayers, and so this is just another step of the process. And so, that's kind of where we're at. We're talking about 348. If I'm looking at it from an optics standpoint, I would see that this is a way for them to save face. They just kind of pull this off the schedule. They're not going to be a lot of fanfare about that, because they don't want to admit the fact that they're failing, and the senators are holding the line. And so, that's kind of where we're at there. And so I feel that, in this situation that, it's just a matter of time, because they're running out of time. They have until June 25th where they have to have so that means they have to have all these bills through the process, ready for the signature of the governor, right? They also have to have all the budgetary stuff done before the 25th of June. Okay. They don't have time. And, there's up to 3,000 bills that were active. I'm not sure how many are left, but they're definitely, they lost a month. And so, that's kind of where we're at. I feel that, they're running out of time. So what's going to happen is they're going to adjourn this session, which they really don't want to adjourn this session, because that means 2002 dies. That means 2005 dies. That means 348 dies. And so they really don't want to do that, but they don't have any options. And so, that's kind of the good thing for us is they don't have a lot of options. And I saw something today, which I put in the group, is Wagner, what an arrogant SOB. You come out here and it's complete lies, and you totally put everything on someone else instead of taking accountability. You're the president, you're the Senate president, you're the one that's supposed to lead inside that building, right? You have the gavel, start leading. Okay. So what part of leading in this situation will be to compromise, right? So if you're not getting everything that you want, and you want it this way, then there's some demands on our side that are not being met. And so, the problem is the caucus runs, that party. And so they do not do anything without approval from, the caucus up there. And so, that's kind of where I'm at. And so let me kind of, I'll follow back. Give me just a minute, Rick. Let me follow back on some stuff. And so I just kind of want to talk about, this process and what it looks like is so we're talking about, all these bills. There are some good bills, like Jason Scharf, his wife, Anna, they have some really good bills when it comes to ag. The unfortunate thing is with this good bill, the good bills that are up there, they're going to die with those bad bills. And what's going to happen is, the governor, she has the power. She would adjourn the session. So she would end this long session, and then they would start what's called a special session. Okay, the problem with the special session is this could go indefinitely until they come to some sort of agreement, right? And so with the special session, they can only focus on budget issues. Okay, so if it does not impact the budget, if it does not affect, and they can't raise taxes, right, because they don't have a supermajority. So these are all things that if we're looking at, we have some plays here, and we have some things that are working in our favor, so we have to be really, really just aware of, as easy it is as it is to be doom and gloom. It's really not the time to be doom and gloom. This is just something that we needed our senators to do. I did get an email yesterday from Senator Lithicum that had some really good information about what this process looks like, and he's willing. I mean, God bless the guy. He's really ready to sacrifice it all to make sure that our kids are protected, our gun owners are protected, and so he's. But we all know that this is unconstitutional. The problem is we need to file a lawsuit. I don't know who's going to be doing that, and so what that looks like is, and I've seen this comment a lot is, well, if it was on the ballot, isn't that constitutional? And my response to that is the Shemaiah Fagan, the disgraced Secretary of State. She had a duty as the Secretary of State to weigh out, are these measures that are being placed on the ballot for, we're modifying the Oregon Constitution, are they constitutional at face value, right? And we can look at Measure 114, we could look at Measure 113. Both of those, there's some constitutional issues there when it comes to the Oregon State Constitution. And so the fact that they were put onto the ballot and they were ruled as constitutional is a real problem. And so what that did is that put us in a position where now it goes to the ballot. We can look at them at the ballot language, the title for both of those bills, and both of those bills were misleading and confusing to people, right? And so there was another reason why Measure 114 was so close, is because there's people that I know there's good people out there that voted and they thought they were voting the right way, and they were just confused because of the way it was written. It was a bad, poorly written bill. And so that's kind of where we're at. And so this thing, before they say that these senators can't run for the next election cycle, there needs to be a constitutional review. And that's something that we need to put pressure on them to make sure that we help protect those senators and say, hey, no, they were elected to do a job. They were doing the job at the will of their constituents by not showing up. That's what their constituents told them to do. And so they were doing the right thing by not showing up because they were protecting us as gun owners, as parents of parental rights. So there was a lot of things that were going, that are going in our favor. And so, that's where we're at. And so, until we get the constitutional muster passed on Measure 113, we're not going to accept the fact that those senators are not up for re-election. Okay. And we need to hold that line, and we need to flex our muscle and say, hey, we're going to use our voices, and we're going to push back on this stuff. And so, and then what they'll say is, 70% of Oregonians, voted in favor. So, okay, well, did 70% of Oregonians that voted in favor for Measure 113, did they know how this system works? Did they know that this was a stopgap measure for us in the minority? And because ultimately, the Democrats, the way they're going, they're not going to have the majority forever. And so, it's a give and take in this situation. They need to have the ability that they're going to be in a minority someday. And so, they're going to want to have that same luxury to be able to deny quorum, and so, that's kind of the thing. And so, yes, this is going to be the same judge. Okay. This judge arguably did not understand the assignment the first time. And a part of it is because of the counsel that we had that was arguing in our favor. That was not the right guy to be doing it. And from everybody I've spoken to with this, he was way over his head. The problem with federal court, though, is there's only a certain amount of attorneys that can actually argue in front of in federal court. And so they actually have to be approved to be able to actually be in front of a federal court judge. And so there's the list is smaller than just a regular trial attorney. And so it's more of a specialized type attorney. And so, in that situation, our options were kind of limited. I'm not making excuses here. I'm just trying to paint the picture of what this all looks like. And so when we're talking about federal court next week is, this is going to be in front of the same judge. And it's our hope that, we have a better standing here because of all the work that we put in, behind the scenes, prepping for this, all the discovery, all the other stuff that we've done to make sure that, everything's ready for this trial. Me and probably 5 or 6 other people. I mean, I read 1,200 pages in preparation for this to help our legal team. And so that's the whole point is doing whatever I could to kind of help out. And so 1,200 pages, it was a lot. It was a lot to scan through. And, but I'm glad to be able to help and get eyes on things. And this stuff is not stuff we need to worry about. And this is stuff that we need to worry about. So it was good in that regards. It was a good experience for me. So excuse me. So other than that, so this is going to be the same judge. We're just hoping that we have a better outcome this time. And so, that's kind of where we're at. So we're back here. So the dates, it's going to be June 5th to the 9th. It's scheduled for Monday through Friday, depending on how everything goes. And so that's something to think about. If we can be there, it's going to be important to be there because, the other side's going to be there. And so probably what they're going to do is what they did last time, where obviously we're going to have to, get to the courthouse. We're going to have to go through security. They're going to check us. And then, we're going to go up to the floor. We're going to wait for them to open the doors. And then when they open the doors, it's going to be a mad rush to get a seat inside there. And so there's going to be some elbowing. There's going to be people that obviously they feel that they're entitled to be in there because they wrote an unconstitutional bill. And so obviously it comes down to optics. I'm going to be in the front row. I'm going to be sitting right next to them, and I'm going to be there. I'm going to be taking notes, and they're not going to take my seat. They've already tried to take away my rights, and I'm going to push back. I'm going to say, nope, let the judge handle this. And so what they've already done is they've tried to circumvent the judge, and they've tried to use the Oregon legislature. They tried to use Floyd Prozanski, and no, we're not going to play these games. And so, that's kind of where I'm at. So, I want you guys to know that that's kind of where we're at. And so, so my friend Virgil, hey Virgil, I hope everything's going well there. I haven't heard from you last week or so. I hope you're doing well. And so, that's kind of where we're at is we just gotta hold the line, and it's just another step in the process. And, that's kind of where I'm at. So, yep. I hope that helps, so I hope that helps. And, it's everything I can do is to give you guys the best information that I can. And so that's what this is about. And Eric, the games need to stop, right? And that's the thing that we need to understand here is this is politics. Excuse me, I hit the wrong comment. This is politics. This is the way the game is played. And a lot of us don't know how the game is played because we don't have a lot of experience with this process. And I think that's part of our problem is the fact that, we don't understand. And so that's where this is part of the process, and this is the way this stuff works. And so, and so right here, Virgil, we got your back. And so don't ever think that for a second. I know it's hard to be in your position. Sometimes you get some heat, but in this situation, we're looking out for everybody that's on our side and is trying to help us. And so we will continue to do that. and be positive and be a positive and a good force, and hopefully we can stop this stuff, so that's kind of where we're at, so this, but one, back to what I was talking about is this is the way they do things up there. This is, they what they do is they prey upon those that are uneducated about the system, right? And that's why you'll see if you go to, let's say your rep, like my rep and my senator. So my senator is James Manning. Floyd Przansky's in my area. Another one of my reps is Julie Fahey. You can go to their website that's related to the Capitol, Oregon legislature. You can sign up for their email alerts. And so what they'll do is they'll send out these press releases. They'll send out all this stuff that you'll get. And the fact is, it's going to be all smoke and mirrors. This stuff, there's very little true fact in this stuff. This stuff is all designed to weaponize the low information voter, right? The people that believe this stuff hook, line, and sinker. Okay. So the best thing that we can do is, obviously we can counter these narratives. We can take what they wrote and we could add our little captions like I do here in the group. Is whenever there's something that, I see that's, valuable, I will get the link. I'll put the link in there. And then what I'll do is I'll put my little take on things, right? So that's what you can do in your own circles, right? So the best way that we can kind of combat the misinformation here and well, to be honest, the stupidity, is to put out the truth. And so that means we put out what they say, but we correct it and we edit it. So when our friends see this and our friends list, it's somewhat the truth, right? And so, right now, everything that's being sent out is what they're doing is they're demonizing the Republicans and the senators, as opposed to taking responsibility for the fact that they cannot lead, and they're in the majority. And so with that, there's things that they're trying to push, and so it's not working out, because, we have the system, and the system's working the way it needs to be working, and that the quorum is a very effective tool. And they were in support of the quorum when they used to use the quorum. So it's very, very hypocritical. And so, yeah, Frank, I really appreciate you. It's been a lot, and I'm looking forward to, next week and being up there and, watching, the arguments and, just I've been a part of this every step of the way. So part of that's kind of exciting for me. It's like, I remember, like, before IP17 was even like an actual IP, I was on this. I mean, it was like last February is when I started, really kind of paying attention. And then when it got to March, and then we had an actual IP number, because they had gone through the process. And then, going June, July, when it was getting ready to go on the ballot, right? And so I've been a part of this, and every step of the way, I followed it to Harney County. I followed it all over the state. I followed, hours, hundreds of hours into this. I mean, probably 1,000 hours into this by now. And I'm looking forward to I want some resolution. I want my rights back. I want to be able to go buy a gun without have to worry about buying a gun. Without having to have a permit. I don't have to worry about a 10-round magazine. I want to keep things the way they are. And so I feel that, we're in a position here now that we're in a good, there's a good chance we're going to keep everything the way it is. And so that means we bent, but we didn't break. And so that says a lot about us as Oregon gun owners is, we held that line, and we had our representatives that helped us. We had our senators that did what they needed to do. And part of this is we have to be ready for that next skirmish. Next skirmish is going to be at the ballot box. And so we have to be ready. We can't forget about what's happening right now, because, our attention span is so short here in Oregon, and it's really, really easy for us to check out. And if we check out, that's how we're going to lose seats, and we need to pick up seats. I mean, we're close. We could totally hamstring the governor by having the Senate and the House. and we're that close, and so it's just we got to keep that foot on the accelerator, and we pick up the House, we pick up the Senate, these gun bills are going to go away. Then they're not going to be focusing on these gun bills. They're not going to be focusing on the stuff they're focusing on if we get control. And so that's and that's what it's going to take is good people that we can elect and make sure that our voices are representative and stop this insanity. What's happening up there, that's not leadership. That's not, I mean, we could argue that this is against the will of the people. There's such a minority that believe as radically as what they're trying to sell. You know what I mean? And so, that's kind of where we're at. So we just gotta understand that this is just another skirmish, and we're just gonna keep moving forward. And so that's kind of where we're at. So I hope this answered any questions. I will. So tomorrow we have another listen and learn. Sorry, Chris. Well, what I could do is I could tag everyone. I could say at everyone in there, and then everybody get an alert, and then I get lots of middle fingers, and so I don't do that. And so, but you guys can watch back. This stuff stays. And Gerald. We're gonna have a little talk, Gerald. Okay. And this is, will you do me a solid here, Gerald? Okay. I'm gonna switch my screens here. Will you please do me a favor? Okay. Let's change this terminology. We're talking Democrats. Come on. There's our group here in this group is so diverse that there's not all Republicans, there's not all independents. And so when we start calling people Democrats, okay, what we're doing is we're isolating ourselves and we're also pushing people away. We need people here that don't necessarily think like us. Okay. It is okay to have a different opinion. I completely support free speech. Okay. But we're talking about this stuff. We have to change the way we interact with people. Okay. We have to build bridges. And I know it's not the easiest thing to do. I had a guy the other day tore into me and said I was coddling liberals. I'm not coddling liberals. I'm being respectful of everyone, right? Because if I'm respectful, I can build goodwill that way. Okay. And when I start calling names, I start making fun of people. I really try not to do that. And so all I'm advocating here is we think about the way certain comments can be misconstrued, also offensive to others. What we're trying to do here in this group is we're trying to work the same way. We're fighting forward, and we do that the same way. And so that's the way we do that is we have to. Okay, no worries. Then I'll get off it. Hey, sorry about that. I don't mean to chastise you. I'm just trying to use this as a teachable moment. Is the best way that we can build goodwill around people that don't necessarily align 100% with us, but we need their vote, is to not call names. And so that's all I was trying to say is, and as long as it is I don't know why you like me, Chris. I'm just a guy with a microphone and a camera, and I hope that this makes sense. I'm really, honestly, everything that I've been trying to do with you guys here is to show you the best way to be effective advocates, and that's all I'm trying to do. And if we can make little changes in our day, I mean, I know it's funny to make little comments like that, but I guarantee if you can make one little change to one thing that you do a day when it comes to something that could be seen by other people that are not necessarily on your side, that's how we're going to make this change, right? It's a cultural change. It's a shift that we have to make in our mindset and our psyche. And obviously there are people that are enemies, right? There's people that I will never ever reach. There are people like Lift Every Voice. There are people, Moms Demand Action, I will most likely never reach again. And that's okay. And I've accepted the fact that I'm never going to reach them, but there's such a small minority compared to all the other people out there. And so, that's kind of where I'm coming from is if we can change, we can really move a big ship if we can all, work the same way. And so that, I mean, that's where everybody's different. That's everything I'm getting on. There's some people I'm never going to reach. And I'm okay with that. So I'm not really going to focus a lot of time and energy there. But I'm still gonna hold myself to a higher standard and say, hey, just because Lift Every Voice is this person in this way, and I'm not going to reach them, doesn't mean I'm gonna say hurtful things. I'm gonna be better. And I think that's what we do a lot here is we are more we're more morally sound. I guess I would say is the way I would say. Is that a word? More morally sound? Sometimes my Spanglish isn't the greatest, but anyways, what I mean by that is we focus a lot on us being law abiding. We focus on us, always doing the right thing. Always like we hold ourselves to this higher standard that others don't, right? And so I think that's where we should kind of self-police ourselves and just do better, right? And and I know I'm preaching. I don't want to preach, and so yeah, absolutely. Chris, that's awesome. We're all at the end of the day, we have things that we align, and so most of us, it comes down to our gun rights. To be honest, I'm a single issue voter here, right? So I'm going to vote with my gun rights, and so if I could identify a Democrat that is a pro gun Democrat, and would defend my rights, maybe I would entertain that vote. But for the most part, I'm gonna stay in a safe position, and I'm going to vote for those that are going to help protect my rights, and I'm also going to do my part to help support them. And I'm going to do my part to write letters and emails and be active in civics. And that's what I'm going to do to help protect my rights, so, that's the kind of thing, and I just want to make sure that, part of this process, and I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad. It's like part of this process is we have to get better and we have to evolve and we have to fight in a way that they're not going to anticipate. And it's really, really easy for them to cast aspersions on us because they are okay with what they're doing. They're okay with, so, but we're not going to play that game. We're going to be above them. And so, that's everything I'm trying to get at here, yeah, everything's about balance. I mean, it's ebbs and flows, right? And justice, right? Justice, those scales are supposed to be blind. And currently, what's happening, the scales are definitely not blind. And so, we have to be aware, we have to be watching, we have to be vigilant. There's all these things that we have to do. And, part of it is just showing up, and you guys are doing that. And so, absolutely. 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 Who we are. Yeah. Everyone is, yeah, but also we can protect someone else. We can also protect those that need a little bit of help, right? And that's the thing is, as it's okay to help, and that's all we're trying to get at. And so that's, it's a numbers game. It really is. It is a numbers game. We do not have the numbers, so we have to pick up the numbers somehow, and we do that by building bridges, not burning bridges. That's all I'm getting at, and so tomorrow I'm done with the lecture. So I'm done with the lecture. So we learned, but when I see these comments, I really want to bring them up and I want to talk about them, and I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad. I'm just trying to, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. That's all. And so tomorrow we have a listen and learn event, and tomorrow I'm bringing on my friend Michael Sedini. He runs a really great organization based out of Las Vegas, and it's basically it's Walk the Talk America. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about mental health and mental health awareness and what he does, and how it relates to the 2A, the Second Amendment, and so what I think is really, really important to understand is we're talking about data, right? So we always talk about data. Data is our friend. The problem that we have is how data is used against us, right? So they typically what they're saying is they say we have this gun violence problem, right? It's on average, it's about 42,000 people a year die by firearm, but over 16 to 18,000 of those are by suicide. And so the problem I always have with the CDC is the way they extrapolate the data. The data should be separate, right? So we should have homicides and there should be suicides. Should be two different line items. That way we should separate them because those numbers are misleading. And they use that to their advantage because they want to further restrict. They want to make it look like it's really, obviously, we don't want to see anybody die. That's why I work really, really hard to make sure that we protect people. We make sure people know that they're not alone. And so tomorrow, that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about, mental health awareness and how you guys can, do the things that I do. Like I do a mental health check on myself once per quarter, and it's completely anonymous. It's completely free. And I go to their website, and there's no way I can be tracked. There's nothing saved, but I just kind of go through there, and that way I'm self-aware of what's happening. I also wear I'll take it off here. I wear this bracelet of theirs, which, I wear this everywhere I go, right? So walkthetalk.org. And so, /love. And that's where you can take that free and anonymous health screening. And so it's really, really important is there's people out there that are struggling, they could be, having, they could have a failed marriage. They could have substance abuse problems. They could have loss of job. They could have, a illness. These are all things that lead to higher rates of suicide in Oregon, which also gives them the ability. And they say, oh, well, we need to make sure those guns are properly stored at all times because of suicide. They use that to their advantage. And so that's why it's really, really important is we're self-aware, and we don't need the government to tell us to be self-aware. It's just, we need to know that, we just need to be self-aware, and that's what I do. And so, yeah, for sure. That's the thing. That's right here is everything is used. A couple things that they can't argue is obviously 250,000 to 3 million times a year, guns are used for lawful self-defense, right? They can't argue that fact. And so that is absolutely great. I can put that in there. And so it's something that it's really, really important. And I lost a friend to suicide about a month ago locally. And that was really hard because, I'm very active, in this stuff. And I work on a couple different suicide prevention boards. Like, I do a lot when it comes to our gun rights and how, I don't publicize it because it's something that it doesn't need to be publicized, but it's something that I'm active in because like we need gun owners in these debates, right? In these conversations. And so I'm there. And so I'll put the link in there for their website. You guys can check it out. And that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. And so tomorrow, and I'll highlight it right here. Give me 1 second. I got to get off here because I got a birthday thing to go to, but this is the website we're going to be talking about tomorrow. And so it's something that's really, really important. I know there's many of us, I would say probably a good majority of us have had somebody that we've lost to suicide. I mean, I've lost a couple people to suicide, and I lost, I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to get all emotional, but it's something that hits home and it's close to home, and it's something that they're using to further their agenda to take away our rights. And so that's something where whatever we can do to help, save lives by having resources available, that's going to help lower statistics, and in turn should help protect our rights. Everything's all intertwined here. And so that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. And that's going to be a really, really good conversation. My friend Michael Sedini, he does tremendous work. He used to own Bursa Firearms, so he's been in the industry a very long time, a super solid guy. And so that's why I look forward to bringing him on here and talking about, you know, mental health and how it relates to our gun rights. And so, you know, if you guys want to tune in, it's gonna be a great conversation, and obviously open minds. You know, please come and just come to learn. You know, and that's everything I'm trying to do here. I got some other ones. I had the guy from Four Boxes Diner scheduled, and that kind of fell apart on me. So I'm still waiting for a response from him. He was supposed to be next week. I'm still trying to line that out. But that would be a huge one if I get the guy from you know Four Boxes Diner. That'd be a huge one for me. I met him last September in Dallas, and so he's a good dude. He's just busy. You know, he's busy. I get it. So, but that's kind of where I'm at. You know, so I'm gonna get off here. But I appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll just plan on talking to you guys tomorrow. If anything changes, I'll keep you up to date. But just be aware, we do have court next week. It's Monday to Friday. It's going to be up in Portland. As soon as I have the addresses and everything, and I have kind of a game plan of what I'm going to do, I'll let you guys know, and that way you guys can join me. And so, yeah, for sure, Chris. You know, so that's kind of where we're at. So, other than that, I'm going to get off here. You guys have a great night. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a good night.